who went to the White House 3 times in February trying to persuade Trump. It makes no sense. Anyway.
We're talking about a death penalty.
So, anyone who fell for that.
The Kirk situation.
Look, I know it was a lot of you guys. I know a lot of you fell for it.
Like right now, Nick is saying pretty much like people are crazy as fuck for believing that that Israel was the one that killed Charlie. And for me personally, I don't think it's crazy to believe that Israel killed Charlie. Just because the dude went up there and said, "Oh, I did it, I'm the one that killed him," that doesn't mean Israel wasn't the one that done it. Like he can just go up there as a false narrative, admit he done it. They say he get the death penalty, he get life in jail. They send him to a prison, his name get erased. They take him out of prison a couple days later, a couple months later, take him out, give him a whole new identity. And then he did his job. Now the killer of Charlie Kirk is locked away or dead, and nobody knows he really got out. So no, I don't think Candace Owens is crazy. No, I don't think she's talking babblage. No, I don't think she's saying bullshit. I think what she's saying is true, and I think I think for sure it was Israel who killed Charlie Kirk. Watching the videos and seeing the clips of what's going on with Charlie, I think they killed Charlie Kirk. I don't think it was a bullet. I think it was a microphone on his chest that killed him.
So out of pure self-interest, I'm not going to say you guys were idiots, but that was like just a retarded thing to believe, you know. And I'm so glad it's over. Finally, it's over. I can't wait for this prelim to be done. I can't wait for the trial. Because, man, I mean, the evidence is just coming out, and it's like, oh, so it's all fake? Anyway, we'll get into it. That's going to be our big story, but, man, it's just like, finally. Okay, we're going to get into all that. We're also going to talk tonight about the latest Iranian plot to assassinate Trump.
Yeah.
Right on schedule.
They talk about assassinating Trump.
So after the memorandum of understanding has fallen apart,
yeah, bro, Iran came out. I don't know who the leader is. I'm not there keeping up with names and shit, y'all. I'm not like new to politics, but I'm just now diving into it. And yeah, they talk about assassinating Trump. They're saying if the United States hit us, we guarantee to assassinate Trump. Nigga, come on. Like for real? Really? You're not gonna touch Trump. You're not gonna get there.
Ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran, largely in part because of Israel's interference.
Yep.
Now,
always the Jews.
Exclusive in the Wall Street Journal, they say that Israel briefed the Trump administration on a new Iranian plot to kill Trump.
False flag.
Well, that's really convenient timing, isn't it?
It might be false flag attack.
So there was another Iranian plot to kill Trump during the presidential election. Only Israel knew about it.
Right.
And they told Trump, and that sabotaged the peace process the first time. And now that the Trump administration is working to make this peace deal with Iran and force Israel to be a party to it, Israel once again has received their own intelligence that Iran's trying to kill Trump again.
It's so crazy because like Israel people, I've been seeing reporters or people would talk about it or post about it on X. They be talking about like, yeah, Israel give the United States so much intelligence. Without us, y'all would never beat Afghanistan. Without us, y'all would never knew about 9/11 and how to stop it fully and how to recover from it. Without us, y'all have been attacked way more. Man, y'all be knowing shit we don't know. How y'all use our equipment but know shit we don't know? How y'all use our military? The United States literally funds your whole military. Not your whole one, like 70% of your military. But how do we fund so much of your military and your agencies and your spies and we don't know shit? So now the war back with Iran, Trump will get assassinated. They're gonna assassinate Trump, huh? Now Trump trying to do a peace deal and shit, and actually getting fed up with Israel and actually speaking against Israel and talking about like cutting ties with Israel. Now he about to get assassinated for real. Now Trump about to get hit, and y'all about to blame Iran, right? And not make a false flag attack, right? Shit crazy out here, bro. Israel doing crazy shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It seems like the Iranians only want to kill Trump when they're about to make peace with him, which is the thing that Israel wants to happen the least. So convenient how that works out. And Israel's the only one that gets the intelligence.
Crazy.
Iran only wants to kill Trump right before they make a deal, and Israel's the only country that knows about it, and coincidentally, the last thing they want is a deal. That's crazy how the way that works out.
Crazy
I guess
fuck, huh?
it's just like so lucky. It's like Hashem is looking out for them all the time. But
Man,
we'll get into that as well. I do worry because you almost wonder, are the Israelis going to take out Trump? Blame Iran? Vice President steps up, we have to go to war? That might be a little far-fetched, but it's a little freaky when they start talking about things like that. But we'll get into that as well. Should be a pretty good show. Before we get into the news, I want to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble, smash the like button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the show. Check out our merch store at Fuentes.store. We have our brand new summer collection loading. Summer collection is coming to you on Monday. And we got a lot of good stuff. A lot of brand new designs, new shirts, pants, hats. We got a few new hats that are really cool. Okay, so you're going to want to get the classics, which we have here.
him marketing himself.
We have the camo, which new ones come. Group chat with me.
I don't care, Nick. This is going on live.
The public said, where's the evidence?
There you go.
After that. Commentary stream, gaming stream, it's all there.
There you go.
And if you just want to hang out with me, I'm in there. The brown with the yellow. That's good. That's good stuff. But anyway, there's not really much else going on in the news. It's been a pretty slow week, been a pretty slow month in general. So I guess we're just going to dive in. We'll talk about this Charlie Kirk preliminary hearing. And I'm sure everybody's been following this a little bit. I'm sure you've heard a little bit about it. But this week began the preliminary hearing for Tyler Robinson, who is accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk. Now, this is not the trial. The trial has not actually begun yet.
Oh, it's not. This is not trial.
This is a preliminary hearing, and this is where the state, the prosecution, presents its evidence that Tyler Robinson is the killer. And if the judge determines that there is sufficient evidence, then the trial will proceed after that.
Okay.
As of right now, Tyler Robinson has not entered a plea. So he has not pled guilty or not guilty. That will happen later. But so far, the state has been presenting their evidence that they have, their most compelling evidence, and this is all evidence that nobody has seen yet. Why is this significant? Because for the past 10 months, since September 10th, we have heard people online, specifically conspiracy theorists, saying, where's all the evidence? Where's all the evidence to support the government narrative that Tyler Robinson was the killer? Why is there not more evidence? Why are there not more camera angles and forensic evidence and physical evidence and so on? And if you remember, if you recall correctly, in September 2025, a representative for the state came out in a press conference and said that Tyler Robinson, the accused, has due process rights like anybody else. The press said, where's the evidence? The public said, where's the evidence? And the state came forward and said, look, Tyler Robinson has due process rights under the Constitution. What does that mean? It means he has a right to a fair and speedy trial with a jury of his peers.
Yep.
Now, in order for...
Here we go. Smoking shit. No bad, y'all. My alarm is going. Hey, at least my alarm worked. My smoke detector worked.
For the state to properly and fairly give Tyler Robinson a trial, that means they need to find a jury pool of people that are unbiased. And how does a person become biased? Well, they see a lot of the evidence. They see a lot or all of the evidence, and they come to some conclusions. So in other words, what the state said from the very beginning, this is not like something that came from Israel, okay, it didn't come from Turning Point USA. The state, whose job it is to prosecute him, said, look, we know you want evidence, but he's got due process rights. Translation, we're not going to hold the trial in the court of public opinion. We're not going to hold the trial in the media. We're not going to present all our evidence on a YouTube channel. They said, we are going to pick a jury. We are going to hold the trial. And at that point, only then will the state present its evidence. Will they make their case? But not until that happens. And so I remember everybody over the past 10 months has been pulling on every thread, leaving no stone unturned, begging the question, rhetorical questions. What about this? What about that? What about the soil, the camera in the back? What about the video? All these different things. And what has taken place in this preliminary hearing is the prosecution is presenting evidence that we have not seen yet. They're showing evidence that only they could have through their law enforcement powers, and evidence that only they have seen. And what we've seen over the past 5 days is pretty damning. It's never before seen, and it's quite damning.
Yeah.
They've got security footage of Tyler Robinson all over the campus, going to the campus 5 times in the hours leading up to and after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They got him dead to rights on multiple security cameras. They got him climbing up onto the roof and going into a prone position. They got him walking around limping, carrying the rifle in his pants. They have DNA evidence of him and Lance Twiggs on the rifle and on a towel that he brought to the roof. They recovered fragments of the bullet from Charlie Kirk's body, which match the description of a .30-06 coming from the rifle that shoots that type of round, which was left in the woods belonging to Tyler Robinson's grandfather. And they found, by the way, that the bullet inside of Charlie Kirk's body was totally destroyed. It was in 5 fragmented pieces and resembled a soft point bullet. This is exactly what happens. A lot of people had questions about the caliber of the bullet and where it entered and why there might not be an exit wound. They recovered the bullet. People said it might not even be a bullet. They said it might be some kind of palm pistol projectile, some sort of explosive fragmentation device from the microphone. They found the bullet. They found the bullet. It's in 5 pieces. You can see exactly what it looks like. They took photos of it. They have a written confession. They had the text messages pulled using software from Lance Twiggs' phone. They have photos of the note that was left confessing the crime. They have video of him being interrogated by...
If they have all of this shit, bro, why it take them so long to run this trial? Like, they got all this evidence. They get messages, bullets, text messages, emails, motherfucking DNA, hair samples, kid embryo sperm. They got all of this shit. Why did it take them so long to run this trial? I understand it's supposed to be fast, speedy. I get it. But you got so much evidence. Why so long to run the trial? If I don't know somebody, look, if I'm genuinely asking. So somebody let me know in the comments, because I'm genuinely asking. And because I think it's false flag. I think they just set it up. I think they know, like, bro, it's a murder case. Yeah, we can set this up. We can make a device right here, make it look like this happened. Oh, we just get an old rifle with this bullet and just say the pieces broke off in his neck. That's why there's no exit wound, even though it hit the side of his neck. It wasn't like it went into his chest or some shit. It hit the side of his neck. There's no exit wound. There's no nothing. Oh, yeah. Even though we watched the videos, Charlie's shirt pops up before he get hit. Before he get hit in his neck, his shirt goes up. Like the mic of it goes up. It's crazy. If I can find the video, I'm going to pull it up. Matter of fact, let me find it.
By the police multiple times and by the FBI, they have video of him turning himself in. And then on top of that, what happened today is that Lance Twiggs...
Oh, right here. Found it. That's right here, y'all. Yep, right here. Watch it. See, so like, where's the? You see how the shirt going back? Like, you see how the shirt's going back, but there's no exit. Like, there's no exit at all. So it looks like, so the mic had to pop up, made the shirt pop up. There's no exit with it. Even right here, look. Watch. Watch the mic. Watch the mic. Boom! It pop up. Then he's hit. It's So it's like it just pops up, and then there's no exit wound. I don't know. It just weird to me.
Testified over video in court, and he said, Tyler Robinson left me a note, written. He texted me a confession, and then when he returned home, he confessed in person, cried, and then turned himself into the police. And this is a story from the Washington Post.
No, come on. If you read the text messages, or from what I heard, he was saying some crazy shit. Oh, Charlie needs to go down, blah, 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 blah. He gets the assassination. He gets away. Like, he literally gets away. Oh, nah, baby, I gotta turn myself in. Bro, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. It's bullshit. I think Israel, same thing with JFK.
A 23-year-old accused of killing Charlie Kirk confessed to his roommate shortly after the shooting and said he wished he had not done it, according to a video interview played in a Utah courtroom on Thursday. Prosecutors presented the recording as key evidence in a week-long preliminary hearing meant to determine whether the case against defendant Tyler Robinson can proceed to trial. Robinson confessed to the roommate over text shortly after the shooting, according to officials. He said, I had enough of Kirk's hatred. I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was, said Twiggs. He started crying a little bit, said he wishes he hadn't done it. He kept going around and just doing stuff, I think, to keep himself busy. The defendant eventually said he would talk to his parents or turn himself over to authorities, said Twiggs. The former roommate also recounted discussing bullet engravings with Robinson about a month before the shooting. Robinson had said he was planning to go hunting with his family and asked Twiggs if they had a power tool to put messages on the bullets. After the shooting, law enforcement recovered bullets with messages such as, "Hey, fascist, catch," which were shown in court on Thursday. Robinson referenced the engravings in his text with Twiggs after Kirk's killing. Text with Twiggs after Kirk's killing. Interesting consonants there. Pictures of text messages displayed in court Thursday showed Robinson telling Twiggs to check under his keyboard for a handwritten note. The note read, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Twiggs in the recorded interview said he had never heard Robinson talk about Kirk before the shooting, and also said they did not talk much about gender identity and LGBTQ rights. When Robinson did talk about politics, it was usually about Trump or current events. That's the only part to me that's a little bit suspicious, that they never talked about it.
My bad, my mic was off. You never heard about the dude talking about Charlie or whatever, like, but they said the dude was transgender. It was a transgender guy, and so you're telling me you're his partner or roommate, and you never heard this person ever talk about Charlie Kirk, but he kills him. You never heard them ever talk about Charlie Kirk, but he turns around and lets you know he's killing him, but you never heard them talk about it. Only Trump and current events. That makes no sense to me. That's fishy. That's weird and fishy.
But aside from this, you look at everything that has been presented in the preliminary hearing.
You can't say but.
And this is the evidence. Like I said, you've got 4 or 5, I've seen it reported differently, 4 or 5 fragments of the bullet recovered from Charlie Kirk's body, and it resembles a 30-06 soft-point bullet fired from the rifle that was recovered in the woods. You have DNA evidence of both Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs found on the roof where the shooting happened. You have security camera footage which places Tyler Robinson at the campus at the time of the assassination and in the hours leading up to it and afterward. You got text messages, photos of a handwritten note, Discord messages, and you have the testimony of Lance Twiggs himself. You've got interrogation of Tyler Robinson by police and by the FBI. The parents turned in Tyler Robinson and they believe that he's guilty.
Bro, it's too much evidence, bro. Like, they got too much evidence. For assassination attempt like this. They got way too much evidence. Way too much. And then, like, for the roommate to say that Lance never really ever talked about Charlie, but they have all this evidence. It's crazy. Like, you don't like Israel still can put them up to this. They can still plan this shit. The parents don't even have to know. It could just be a one-on-one thing with Lance. Even the partner don't even have to know. But I just think it's crazy. All this evidence in Discord, Snapchat, emails, DNA, all this stuff comes up. But the roommate never heard Lance talk about Charlie. Only Trump. That's fishy. Even Nick knows it's fishy.
This is the evidence. Now, everything up until this point on the conspiracy side is basically theoretical. What were some of the conspiracy theories? Well, they said that once we see the footage from behind Charlie Kirk, there's a camera pointed at Charlie Kirk's back from behind him. They said we are going to find that actually the wound in the front was the exit wound because he was shot from behind by a palm pistol, by an assassin sitting behind Charlie Kirk. Well, we got that. It didn't happen.
Now there's no way.
We got that footage from behind.
Yeah, that one, there's no way. The way Charlie fell, he fell backwards. He didn't fall forward. He fell sideways going backwards.
Charlie Kirk, it revealed nothing.
So it can't be from the back.
And then they said, well, why wasn't there an exit wound? Surely if it's a 30-06, I've seen what that does to a hog. That would never stop inside of his body. Well, then we saw the bullet itself, and it looks like a 30-06 bullet.
So you see, Nick don't have an answer for that. He don't have an answer for that one. All he said was, oh, well, we saw the bullet. It broken up. It's that type of bullet. Okay, but answer the question. Why is there no exit wound? What made it blow up? If that bullet can go through a hog, hide, if it can get through hide in an entrance way, in an exit way through hog hide, it can get through human skin easily, like paper. Knife through a hot knife through butter. So why did it break apart? And I feel like with Nick, he don't want to really sound like, he don't want to be wrong. I feel like he just don't want to be wrong. So he's just going with the flow.
Soft point. And they go in and then they blow up inside the body when they encounter soft tissue because lead is very soft. We have the bullet. They said there's an exploding lav mic. They said the reason that the physical evidence was potentially destroyed when the university paved over the site where Charlie Kirk was murdered is to conceal chemical evidence of explosive powder used in a microphone on Charlie Kirk's lapel, which blew up, and that was the real source of the... It was a bullet. A bullet was recovered.
Okay, look, hey, hold on. I know I mentioned the mic stuff. I know I did. But a mic is a possibility. It is. The bullet, I still think, either way, if he got shot or with a mic, I still think Israel did it. But, yeah. The pavement, no. The pavement shit was weird. That's weird. For an assassination to happen, then right after that, you pave over it? No memorial, no statue, no holy sign, no nothing. You get cement over your shit, nigga. Nah, that's weird. That's weird. That's some weird shit. That's weird. That's weird. That's highly weird. Yeah, that's weird.
So there goes all the suspicions about repaving the area, whether it was a real bullet or not. Candace Owens and others said Tyler Robinson wasn't even on the campus that day. They said, I don't think he was even on campus in Provo that day.
I ain't saying that.
There's security footage all over the campus placing him there.
I ain't saying that.
It goes on and on and on like this. And basically what happens at this point is you have to believe that all the evidence that has been presented is all fake. The bullet fragments, fake, not real. So the medical examiner's in on it, the surgeon's in on it, the hospital's in on it. You gotta believe the security footage is all fake. They're either body doubles or lookalikes, decoys, or the footage itself has been altered. So the decoys are in on it, and or the state has just manufactured the security camera, which would also involve campus security too. Campus security surely at that point would say, that's not real footage from our cameras. They never requested it or something. So the campus security's in on it. It goes on and on and on like this. His parents are in on it.
Nah, I mean, shit, you be surprised, bro. Like, bro, power is power. Like, power is power. And Charlie had a lot of it. Charlie had a real, like, honestly, I wasn't really big into the politics shit at all. Like, I kind of dipped my toes into it. But, like, I didn't understand how big of a following Charlie really had until he died. Once, once I saw he died, then I kind of started, like, looking into his history. Not like when he blew up and everybody started clout chasing and shit, but no. I started looking into his history, his old shit. I'm like, bro, this dude really had a big ass following. Like, he was really powerful, he was really influential. And then it's just weird when he talks down on Israel for the first time. The most recent one, then he dies after it. Like, it's weird because he had a big influence on the younger generation. And what Israel right now be talking about, they be talking about how the younger generation of the United States is most likely going to go against Israel when they get older. That's one of their problems. So I don't think it's far-fetched for them to fully fake everything. I don't think it's far-fetched. I mean, yeah, you might have really found a bullet. Yeah, he really could have been shot. Yeah, I mean, he could have been, yeah, Zelensky really did it. But also, Israel could have set everything up. Yeah, it could have been military doctors. Yeah, it could be secret operatives. The parents didn't know. They think their kid did it. They think he did it. The roommate just said she never heard him talk about Charlie, but then he leaves a note talking about, I'm gonna assassinate Charlie. I'm taking my chance. Like, what? So it's not far-fetched. It's not crazy.
Lance Twiggs is in on it. The decoys are in on it. Campus security's in on it. The medical examiner's in on it. Erica Kirk is in on it. Jack Posobiec's in on it. Andrew Colvin, Blake Ness, Israel, France, Egypt, Trump, Kash Patel, Utah Public Safety Commission, the defense's attorney, or I should say the defense.
Hey, look, right now it sounds crazy because all the people he's naming. Think about this: 6 million didn't die. They lied. You know how the whole world saying 6 million died? Everybody's saying the 6 million. Everybody's saying all of them got killed. Like, nope, they ain't 6 million ain't die. But the whole world's saying it though. Until we start finding out the truth recently, until we start seeing it and shit. So it's possible, and that was years ago, like centuries ago. So yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's possible. It's possible to lie. You can lie like this.
Defendant's attorney, Tyler Robinson's defense, because why is he not cross-examining the witnesses? Why is he not challenging the evidence?
Power, bro.
He must be in on it too. The local PD and the FBI. In order to persist in this idea that there is some conspiracy, you would have to dismiss, for basically no reason, all the real evidence which has been admitted in court and not challenged by the defense, all the forensic, physical, digital evidence, the confessions, the testimony. You would have to disregard all of it, dismiss all of it, based on nothing. They're all liars, they're all decoys, they're all in on it, it's all fake, it's all forgeries. And you would have to presume that every conspiracy has evidence that just has not been found yet. The involvement of Israel, the involvement of Egypt, the involvement of France, corruption in the FBI, corruption at the university, Utah Public Safety Commission, Trump administration, Turning Point itself, Tyler Robinson's family, Lance Twiggs. You'd have to believe that.
I mean, like, bro, I don't know, because also give me another inside job, because Erica Kirk didn't look like she gave a fuck. Like, I'm a Scorpio. She's a Scorpio. So I know when we love, bro, like we lose our partner, oh, we go ballistic. Like, we go ballistic. And what I mean in a way is we go ballistic in the way we shut down from life. We leave life alone. We leave. We go into like a cradle thing, and we just kind of like try to reform ourselves and rebuild ourselves. And bro, Erica, bro, she was out there living life. That bitch was turning up. She was having sparkles and fireworks and bedazzle and shows and getting paid and all this shit. Now she about to remove her last name and all of this, bro. Like, shit. I know what we shit.
That you would have to basically assume that there is evidence that all of these people are involved in this grand conspiracy, and we have to assume their motivation, and we have to assume that there's evidence for this, but it either just hasn't been found yet, and it's forthcoming, or they're so effective at it that they've killed all the whistleblowers and destroyed all the evidence. And there's a word for this, it's just not rational. It's just not rational. It's just not believable. People say, really? You believe the government narrative? Really? You want us to believe this? I don't know. They have the gun. They have the murder weapon. They recovered the bullet fragments. They have video of him on campus. They've got a written confession, a text confession, testimony from the girlfriend. He turned himself in. The parents turned him in. They interrogated him. There's no other suspects right now. No other suspects in custody. There's no good evidence that anybody else did it. All this talk about decoys and people in maroon shirts. And there's no one else we could point to that actually did the killing. No one we could point to behind the scenes that groomed Tyler Robinson or backed him in some way or had foreknowledge of it. There's no evidence of that. And so, look, I believe that there are conspiracies. What is it? What is a conspiracy? What does it mean to conspire? It means to plot in secret for some sort of concealed agenda. This happens all the time. It happens all the time at a low level, at a high level. Powerful people do it. Poor people do it. Everybody conspires. And I believe there are some high-profile conspiracies going on. But we have to be guided by the evidence to believe them. Okay, we live in reality. We share reality. And everything that happens leaves a trace. Witnesses. A money trail. Increasingly, because of mass surveillance, there's video or audio recordings, there's testimony. We have to be guided by the facts that we can observe in reality, that we can judge and verify. And I said from the beginning, as it concerns this conspiracy, all the evidence is pointing in one direction, towards Tyler Robinson. But for one reason or another, for ideological reasons, people just simply don't want to, they're not comfortable with the conclusion. So rather than be guided by the facts to a conclusion, irrespective of what it is, neutral and unbiased, and not colored by any kind of ideological or political lens, rather than starting with the facts and going where they lead and accepting the conclusion no matter what, people start with the conclusion.
You can't just call that
Which is
fact. Oh shit, my fault. But I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying with the conspiracy shit. But like, bro, you just can't. And not all facts are facts, and Knicks know this. It sounds crazy, but just because they say it's right, bro, it's there's a lot of false shit all the time. There's a lot of undercover shit all the time. It's Charlie is big in politics. Politics is huge right now. Like, it's big. We're in war. Like, it's politics. Who's in office? Like, it is important right now. And Charlie was one of them influencers who can literally change the ties of the American president. Like, he's that influential. So you gotta put that into play too. You can't just sit on these. You can't just sit on what they're saying.
Because I've predetermined that there's a conspiracy. I predetermined the motive. I predetermined the culprit. And whatever facts suit my theory, those are the ones I'm going to go with. I'll go with these open-ended questions, presuming there's evidence yet to be found, presuming we'll find something, seeing patterns where there are none, rather than go with the actual facts, which I will dismiss, the ones that are inconvenient. And the best example of this, I saw this happen today with Ian Carroll. Ian Carroll, who claims to be a journalist, isn't a journalist supposed to be concerned with reporting the facts? That's what a journalist does. They go on the scene and they see and hear with their own eyes and ears what's happening, and then they report it to the people.
Yeah.
Well, Ian Carroll said that he looked at the bullet fragments and said, this resembles a full metal jacket. Ha! It's laughable, the idea that Tyler Robinson shot a new bullet, full metal jacket, and it didn't leave an exit wound on Charlie Kirk. It's ridiculous. And people pointed out, they said, no, that looks like a soft point round. And they said, so actually, it's not full metal jacket. It doesn't have the same penetrating power. They said, that looks like something completely different than what you said it was. It actually doesn't resemble that at all, and you don't know what you're talking about. You're not a ballistics expert. That's not at all what that looks like. As a matter of fact, it looks like something else and produces a completely different effect. And you know what Ian Carroll said? Did he say, oh, you're right, I made a mistake? Did he say, I'm sorry, I'm not a ballistics expert, I misjudged this? You're right, tell me more, I need to do more research. No, didn't even skip a beat. Without missing a beat, he jumped in the replies and said, correction, actually it's a soft point round, but this just even makes my case stronger.
Yeah.
He goes, actually, this makes my case even stronger. All the more reason why this kind of bullet wouldn't produce that effect. And it just goes to show, it doesn't matter if it was a bullet or there's no bullet at all. If it was a full metal jacket or a soft point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's one way or the other way. It always points in the same direction. Anyone who disagrees is a part of the conspiracy. If I debunk your claims, why am I so interested in debunking you? It's because I'm part of the conspiracy. And I said this early on. This is evidence that the people involved are not interested in the truth. If no matter what the facts say, it always is going in the same direction, whether it's blue or red, whether it's right or left, that just proves my predetermined narrative. That just goes to show you have already made a decision about what the conclusion is, and you're not really interested in the facts. You'll find a way to make it suit. Whatever happened, by the way, to those Egyptian planes? Candace Owens did 28 shows last year saying that Egyptian military aircraft were following Charlie Kirk around in dozens of locations, producing an unignorable coincidence.
I don't know about that one.
Some citizen journalist bought the same flight tracking data that Candace Owens used, and he determined she simply misread the data. And that in almost every single case where Candace Owens said a military Egyptian aircraft was at the same airport as Charlie Kirk's plane, not only was that plane not where she said it was on another continent. But was there ever a correction? Candace Owens promised one. She said she was going to produce a website with an interactive data set where people could go on the website and look at where the Egyptian plains overlap with the Turning Point plains. It never happened. She never produced this interactive resource. As a matter of fact, she just simply never talked about it again. Never brought it up. She didn't admit she was wrong and issue a correction and say that was clearly a red herring, a false lead, the data was false. She also didn't produce this interactive resource which would prove that what she was saying was right. She simply stopped talking about it and moved on to something else.
You can't be doing that.
Where's the integrity in that? Where's the transparency? Where's the honesty? Where's the responsibility as a journalist to admit you were wrong? And by the way, that's not like that was one among other things. She said the Egyptian military planes are the key to everything. She said, I can feel it. She said, God told me that. She said, it's a God thing. God told me that the Egyptian military planes are the key to blowing this whole conspiracy wide open. She misread the data.
Yeah. See, one thing I don't do, I don't be like God. Unless I'm joking and shit. But I don't be like, yeah, God told me to do this one. Nigga, nah, that's my gut. I do believe in God, for sure. Jesus Christ and God, I do believe in that. I'm not God. So I can't say God told me that. Unless God himself come tell me. Now, I could say, I feel this way. And God do say he talked to you in your gut. He didn't say your gut, but God do say, the church is within you. And you talk to him in the church. If my gut tell me, hey, I follow it. My guardian angel, you feel me? That's the shit. But I ain't doing that.
It was wrong. She never produced the interactive resource. We never heard about it again. So they went on to the next thing, this 30-06 bullet. That's the thing they hung their hat on. They said it's impossible for a 30-06 round to go through somebody like that and not have an exit wound and not exit the body. They said that's absolutely impossible. It could simply never happen. They hung their hat on this one. And it turns out they recovered the bullet fragments. That's exactly the type of bullet it was. Coming from the rifle belonging to Tyler Robinson, which they found in the field, which he discarded, which he talked about over text with his lover, which they pulled from the phone using Celebrite. Did that stop them? No, they went on to something else. They said, well, why did they repave the area where Charlie Kirk was killed? I know. It's because the chemical compound used in the explosives hidden in Charlie Kirk's lav mic would have binded with the rain chemically and then been impossible to cover up. So the reason that they paved over a bloody crime scene where somebody was murdered was not because they basically knew that he was shot from over there, so why do they need to keep all this blood-soaked soil in the middle of a university campus when people are going to classes? They said, well, there's only one reason why they would pave over it. It's to conceal the explosive that was used. Okay, well, we found the bullet. No explosive, it was a bullet. She said Tyler Robinson was never on campus. We have security cameras.
Bruh. So you're telling me, Nick, come on, my nigga. Nick, come on, bro. Nick, come on, man. Come on, Nick. Nick, y'all stop playing, bro. It makes more sense to be like, yeah, they paved the crime scene because of the explosive of the mic and the chemical mixture. And with the rain and water can mess up the area, blah, blah, blah. That makes more sense than you saying they did it because it's a crime scene. You know how many kids and how many people get shot on campus. You know how many times blood be spilled on campus. You know how many times people get their head blown off, raped, all that stuff on college campus, on the ground, on the surface, in the grass, on the floor, in the dorms, in the classrooms, in the cafeteria. It happens all the time. Do they pave it? Do they pave it every trip? Do they, Nick? Do they really? No, they don't. Like, come on, bro. I can only see it being paved that way because of how big Charlie Kirk was and how big of a case this is. That's the only other reason, really, why I can see they paved it. Other than that, right now, I don't see another reason why.
Footage of him 5 times. He visited the university 5 times leading up to it. She said he was never questioned. They interrogated him twice. The police did, and then the FBI did the day after. Around and around it goes. But it's always just why is there security camera footage? Body doubles, decoys. Why are there text messages? Well, why did they take pictures of them instead of download the data? Well, they did download the data. Well, the data's fake. The software that they use was invented in Israel.
Nah, shit. That's important.
Look at the bullet fragments. That's a Full Metal Jacket. That could not have been the bullet. Actually, it's a soft point. Well, that just bolsters my theory. It's the end of the line. It's the end of the line for the Charlie Kirk conspiracy. And fundamentally, this just rested on wish casting. What was the conclusion that they drew, which they put before the evidence? It was this notion that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Now, to me, this is really where the conspiracy lives and dies. Obviously, they wanted that to be true so badly that you cannot really ignore this. It's not that they believed that someone other than Tyler Robinson was guilty. It's not that they believed that there was some general conspiracy. No, they said it was Israel. Israel did it. That's why they're willing to rationalize or justify everything. That's why they dismissed and hand-waved away all the evidence. And I really do believe that this was just the excesses of this Israel talk on social media. It got to a point after October 7th and through 24 and through 25 that Israel was responsible for not most things, or not a lot of things, or not more things than people realize, but literally everything. It just became hysterical. Anything happens, anything moves, Israel. Charlie Kirk assassinated, gotta be Israel.
No. That low-key pointing towards Israel. Because, bro, the last major thing you talk about is Israel. That you talk against them for the first time, then you die, then you get assassinated. Well, then you're assassinated. Like, it's weird. And how it happens, like, it's just weird. Like, but yes, a lot of shit Israel's fault. Yeah, it is. Is everything Israel's fault? No, it's not. But a lot of things Israel's fault. Yeah, a lot of things Israel's fault. And the reason why a lot of people think this, especially me, they lied. Israel just lied a lot. Like, they lied through history so much. They're controlling, and they're war hungry. They're warmongers. They're war hungry. Like, I don't want to tell you, like you're war hungry. You're always in war. That's not even like denouncing the name or talking down on them. As you're literally always in war. That's war hungry. So I just don't understand. I just really just don't understand why they're doing this. I just don't get it.
We extradite Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela, Israel. ICE kills 2 protesters in Minneapolis, Israel responsible. No matter what happens, everything that moves, every event, and I'm not talking in a generality. I'm not saying it's a heuristic. I'm saying it's literally. People came to believe that literally every major thing has something to do with this. And that's really why they needed it and wanted it to be a conspiracy, to fit it into this heuristic that any time a major event happens, Israel somehow is involved, is responsible, it's about this. Now, why was this ridiculous at the outset? Why? Let's think of some reasons why this was ridiculous from the very beginning. Well, who did Charlie Kirk interview on September 9th, 2025, the day before he died? Ben Shapiro. The day before Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel for running his mouth, who did he bring on to his morning show? Ben Shapiro, #1 Israel First loyalist in America. Why would Charlie Kirk have a friendly conversation with #1 Israeli spy the day before he was allegedly killed for going against Israel?
You know why? Maybe just to cover it up some more. Oh, we can't be us. He had a friendly conversation with a #1 Israel supporter. After he just got done talking bad about them. There's no awkwardness there. There's no manipulation there. Can't be.
context matters too. Does anybody know why Ben Shapiro came on the Charlie Kirk show on the morning of September 9th? Because I do. And I know that because I cover the news every day. I'm not somebody that tunes in for the true crime soap opera, for the big events. I'm not somebody that tunes in for the sensational stuff. I know why. I know why, not because I looked it up before the show tonight, because I covered it the day before. Do you know what happened on September 8th that they were covering on September 9th? Israel attempted to assassinate the Hamas negotiators in Qatar. That is what happened on the Monday before Charlie Kirk was killed, and that is why the day after, Charlie Kirk was interviewing Ben Shapiro. So question, what was Ben Shapiro there to do that morning on Charlie Kirk's show? He was there to defend the Israeli assassination strike on Hamas's negotiators in Qatar. Charlie Kirk brought him on, in other words, to rationalize and defend Israel's conduct, not to press him, not to interrogate him, not to attack Israel, who's attacking our other allies in the Middle East, like Qatar, that is deliberately sabotaging the peace process. No, Charlie Kirk brought Ben Shapiro on the show the day after Israel committed this grave diplomatic sin against the United States to defend Israel's conduct to his audience. That's why. What happened the day after? Well, the morning that Charlie Kirk was assassinated for going against Israel, he spoke with his personal rabbi. Yes, Charlie Kirk had a personal rabbi.
Crazy.
And they met that day to discuss a couple of things. One, how Charlie Kirk would defend Israel that day to people asking him questions, but also to discuss his forthcoming latest book, which is about keeping the Jewish Sabbath. Okay? The morning that Charlie Kirk was killed, he met with his Jewish rabbi to say, how do I defend Israel to these young anti-Semites? And two, help me work on my next book, which is about keeping the Jewish Sabbath.
You know what? And with that being said, too, it could be like maybe the rabbi was talking to Charlie, and Charlie wasn't seeing eye to eye with the rabbi. It was a little arguing. Then it was like, okay, cool, shit, go through, fuck it, we going through the assassination. We assassinate him, and guess what? Gonna sell more, them books. Yup, he assassinated. Now Israel will be trending. Is it talk now? And them books gonna sell way more. Why? Turning Point got way more popular, way more sales than it ever had when Charlie passed. Them books probably went crazy. Money.
Okay? In August, 1 month before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he was asked about me and Candace Owens. Charlie Kirk said that I am an anti-Semitic filth, rodent, scum. I believe that was the word he used. He said I was anti-Semitic scum that had no place in the conservative movement. 2 months before that, in June, he told Dinesh D'Souza not to give me a platform because I'm a Nazi troll. A month before that, in May, he wrote a letter to Netanyahu begging Netanyahu to help him defend Israel and that Netanyahu should construct an Israel Defense Force in digital media funded by the State of Israel. In May 2025, he met Bill Ackman and scheduled a retreat at Bill Ackman's house where Charlie Kirk handpicked dozens of influencers to meet there, after which they went to Israel on a birthright trip. And this is the person you are telling me died as a martyr on September 10th because he was about to flip against Israel? It was totally insane.
It's a
totally ridiculous.
It's possibility.
And by the way, all these people knew that also. On September 7th, 3 days before Charlie Kirk was killed, Ian Carroll tweeted that Charlie Kirk works for the Jews that killed Christ. But on September 11th, a day after Charlie Kirk was killed, he swore that only Israel could have been responsible because Charlie Kirk was going to end their grift once and for all. So which is it?
I've seen it. It's just weird. It's like, it's weird that Charlie was so hard for Israel, and Israel. Then right before he died, he talked down on him. He talked down on him. He was like, yeah, blah blah blah. Like, maybe start talking down on him. Then he just got killed. So there could have been a disagreement. It could have been something there. It can change anytime.
Enough. I've seen enough. I've heard enough. That theory was ridiculous from the beginning. Whatever you think about Charlie Kirk, I obviously have my own personal, political, professional feelings about him. I think it's a horrific tragedy that he died. I think it's one of the saddest moments in our country's history, and I don't even think that's an exaggeration. I really do. And as much as I have my disagreements, it's a disgusting, horrific act of brutality against a father, a husband, and I really do believe he was an admirable person. Even if I didn't share his politics, didn't agree with his approach, hard worker, the guy was the best at what he did. No doubt about it. You can't not give him his due. Yeah. I will tell you firsthand, as somebody that debates, I couldn't go and field any question from any college student at 200 events in a year. That's like a superhuman ability. Guy had it going on, okay?
Yep.
Horrific thing, but let's just be clear about who he was and what he represented. He was at the cross-section of the GOP base, which is increasingly these young white men on the campuses who increasingly are Israel critical. But he also sat between them and the donors. The donors, the big donors and the small donors, the middle-sized donors who are from a different generation. It's boomers, secular boomers, Protestant boomers, and a lot of Jews. And so he sat at the crossroads at a fateful inflection point in history where the boomers are very pro-Israel, the donors are very pro-Israel, the institutions, the establishment is going one way, and the young people, who it was his job to corral into the GOP and organize and get them involved, they were going very anti-Israel. So why is there this contention? Why is it controversial? Was he on the side of Israel in the pocket? Was he turning against them? Well, I think the picture is a reflection of the moment and the position that he was in, which is that as a turning point leader, as the turning point founder, as the guy whose job it was to speak to the younger generation, and he did it every day on TikTok, on the campuses, he realized the extent to which Israel was falling from grace and losing popularity. He saw firsthand how unpopular it was becoming with the young people. He saw firsthand how attitudes were changing about Israel, and he knew there was a problem. He knew that was a problem for Israel. He knew it was a problem for the GOP, and increasingly it was becoming a very acute problem for him, because the more that he defended Israel, the more it hurt his credibility.
Yep.
If your job is to get the young people involved and excited and organized, and they all hate Israel, and your job is to go and defend Israel, it's going to create a lot of friction. And I believe he was unhappy that he was put in that position. And that was reflected in the letter he sent to Netanyahu. He said, listen, man, I can't do all the work. I'm holding down the fort defending Israel, but you got to meet me halfway and help me. Because these are losing arguments, and my job is to win arguments. These young people are not convinced, they don't like you, and the more I defend you, the more they don't like me. Help me help you. That was his message to Netanyahu. I think that was his message at Turning Point SAS in July of 2025, when he had Tucker talk about Epstein and he had the debate between Dave Smith and Josh Hammer. And I think that is what he conveyed even in those private Telegram messages. But he was also on the side of the donors in the sense that Turning Point was a very rich organization, deeply connected to the Trump administration, and we know how much juice, we know how much power the Zionists have. So he also couldn't really upset them either. He couldn't completely alienate those guys at the same time.
Nope.
And I think this is where this perception comes from, that he was about to have this ideological epiphany and he was going to go against Israel. I think it represented a frustration that he was being torn in two. He had to be bipolar because he would speak to the donors and he'd speak to the young people, and the donors wanted one thing and the young people wanted something very differently. And I think it was out of frustration that he was saying, I can't please everybody here. And I think that's why there was this appearance of a flipping or something like that. But these two competing theories that he was killed to prevent Tucker Carlson from entering Turning Point is belied by the fact that after Charlie Kirk's assassination, his successor, Erica Kirk, maintains a friendship with Tucker. So if Erica and Netanyahu conspired to kill Charlie to keep Tucker out of Turning Point because he's Israel critical, well, then how does that explain Erica Kirk being friends with Tucker now? And how does that explain Tucker Carlson speaking in not one but two Turning Point events in the 3 months after Charlie was assassinated? It doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. And then the latest and greatest argument that I've heard is they say, well, Charlie Kirk had to be eliminated because he was against the war in Iran.
Yeah,
he told Joe Kent, keep us out of the war.
Yeah, he was.
And he was against the war in Iran, and he would have single-handedly prevented it.
That's big. Hold on, that's big because look what Israel doing now. Look how many peace treaties been broke. Peace deals been broken and shit because Israel want the war. That shit, that's big.
But this doesn't even pass the smell test. Let's talk about in the first place, we had already gone to war against Iran in 2025. In June of 2025, Israel went to war with Iran. Trump joined Israel in their war with Iran. And perhaps Charlie Kirk advised against it in private, but in public, he defended every action. Every action. When Trump came out and said, I'm in favor of regime change, Charlie Kirk came out and said, I support the president. I'm not in favor of a top-down regime change, but if the bottom-up revolution happens backed by the United States, I'm all for it. How about the Epstein files? When Trump said no one should talk about the files anymore, Charlie Kirk came out and said, I trust my president. If he says there's nothing in the files, let's stop talking about it. That was June and July of 2025. So it's been tested. When Trump took us to war in Iran, Charlie Kirk was unable to convince him not to join the war. And after he failed at convincing Trump not to join the war, he defended Trump's conduct in the war. And when Trump buried the Epstein files with the DOJ, Charlie Kirk dutifully went on Twitter supporting his president and said, we shouldn't talk about the files. I trust Trump handling this. We saw it. So we're supposed to believe that that guy was going to be the one who would single-handedly stand in the way of a U.S.-Iran war in February of this year? What would make you think that, based on the record of history?
Stop it, but I'll say he will affect.
But go further. You're the sitting president of the United States of America. You've got a vice president who won the election with you, a secretary of state that you nominated and confirmed by your Senate, a secretary of defense who oversees the Pentagon, a national security advisor who receives intelligence from the Pentagon and from the National Security Council. You got a director of national intelligence, at that time, Tulsi Gabbard. You have counterterrorism, Joe Kent. You got your son, Don Jr. You've got your other advisors, your chief of staff, Susie Wiles, Stephen Chung, all these people surrounding you. Not one of them could convince him not to go to war. Not the politicals, not the military people, the generals, not the cabinet picks, not the advisors. Nobody in February could convince him not to go to war. Not even his own military. His own military was in Politico and the Washington Post saying to the press, there's no way we're going to get regime change and they're going to close the strait. And we've since heard that the military told him privately they're going to close the strait and we're not going to knock out their government. So he didn't listen to Vice President Vance. He didn't listen to his son, Don Jr. He didn't listen to his DNI, Tulsi Gabbard. He didn't listen to Joe Kent. He didn't listen to Tucker Carlson, who went to the White House 3 times in the build-up to the war, and each time told the president it's a mistake. And Tucker relates that Trump told him, I know it's going to be a mistake. He wouldn't even listen to his own generals. But we're to believe that had Charlie Kirk lived, not only would he aggressively confront the president or maybe go public, but that he would be the deciding vote, the 31-year-old head of Turning Point USA?
Nah, he would be the deciding vote, no.
None of those other people Israel was worried about. Israel wasn't worried about Pete Hegseth.
He wouldn't be the deciding vote, no, but he would have been very impactful in public eye view. Like he would impact the public eye view. Public view of the eye? Public, how do you say that? Public eye view? View of the eye? The eye of the public. He would have affected the eye of the public. He would have affected the eye of the public for sure.
They weren't worried about Central Command. They weren't worried about the DNI, the ODNI. They weren't worried about any of that. They weren't worried about Vance. They weren't worried about Tucker. They weren't worried about any of that. They were worried about Charlie Kirk, who failed to stop the first one, who was with Trump in burying the files, who is an ally of Israel staunchly and has been for a decade. It just doesn't even make any fucking sense, and it never did. People grasping at straws, wanted it to be true, tried to force it, no matter how ridiculous, how illogical. And that's really what this was from the beginning. Ad hoc trying to shoehorn that into the blame Israel heuristic. And you know me, I am no stranger to blaming Israel. Let's be guided by the facts. Larry Ellison acquiring TikTok. That's a Jewish conspiracy all day. Larry Ellison's son, David, putting Barry Weiss in charge of CNN and CBS. Jewish conspiracy all day long.
All day.
Department of Education holding all the Ivy Leagues hostage, forcing their Middle East Studies department to have a pro-Israel curriculum for admissions and for the actual teaching. That's a Jewish conspiracy all day. DHS and State Department reviewing 50,000 visa holders and their social media to see if they criticized Israel. Jewish conspiracy. Okay, there's a lot of Jewish conspiracies. AIPAC pouring $100 million in 24. Israel lobby pouring $20 million in Thomas Massey's primary. AIPAC continuing to go after Cori Bush this year. I mean, it goes on and on and on. These are all real. Even, let's say, Trump going to war with Iran in the first place and Israel sabotaging the peace deal. I mean, there's no shortage of these conspiracies, and they're all factual. They're all fact-based. You can look it up. You can make a very persuasive, overwhelming, compelling case. Let's stick with the facts instead of trying to fit some preconceived notion, some presupposition, some ad hoc theory, dismissing the real facts, desperately hoping that facts that don't exist are going to show up somewhere. And I'll tell you what, if we can't do that as a movement, then we will lose.
All right, y'all. Well, you know what? I see what Nick's saying. The facts are they found the bullet inside of Charlie. They got a criminal. They got a DNA. They got the messages. They got the people. They got the extra information. They got everything. It's not a conspiracy. It can't be. There's no way it's Israel because he did blah, 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 blah. You can still argue that, though, Nick. I can still argue that, Nick. I can argue that. You know, it's just because, like I said, it could have been one bad conversation can end somebody's life, especially when it comes to politics. Charlie had a big grab on the younger crowd. Israel need the younger crowd. They need us. They need a younger generation to look at them, look up to them. And Charlie could have been like, really did what you said. Like, bro, you're doing bad shit. I'm looking bad. I'm losing people. People hate you. I'm losing people. Come on, man. Then you could have, then boom, it just. But alright, though, man. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe.